Oh snap, Glaze is going live.
I see shadow. He's gonna have to tuck towards the camera.
Who, me?
Andy,
Remember where you're keeping your eye contact and
Straight ahead, right?
straight ahead.
double checking focus real quick. Set.
All right, Thomas.
Okay. All right. Let's start with what's your name?
My name is Brian Glaze Gibbs.
Where were you born?
I was born in Brooklyn, New York.
Hold on 1 second. Steve, you see that? Brian, just move your head left and right.
Yeah, Jaffe.
Which way? Do you
Hey,
say?
Matt.
We're seeing the handrail. Pause.
So
All right, Thomas.
Should I start where I left off, or you want me to do the first one?
Start over here.
Okay.
Just ask me, man.
All right. So start with what's your name?
my name is Brian Glaze Gibbs.
Where were you born?
I was born in Brooklyn, New York, in the back of a police car, 1963, December 1st.
Tell us why you were born in a police car.
You know, back then is, you know, when my mother cousin called for the ambulance, she called 911. Opposed to the ambulance arriving, the police arrived first. And when they arrived, my mother was that far gone, so they didn't want to wait for the ambulance, so they put her in the car, and just so happened, I came out in the back seat of a police car. That's where I was born, and took her to Kings County Hospital.
Okay. Who lived in your house as a child?
Who lived in the house? My mother, my brother, my sister, and myself.
So there would be an example. Yes, who lived in the house.
Okay,
When I was growing up.
okay. Try it again.
All right. So who lived in your house as a child?
As a child who lived in the house with us, it was my mother, my brother, my sister, and myself. We lived in an apartment at 685 Horsey Street. And she was more or less like our mother, our father, our big brother and big sister. She did it all.
All right. When did you move to Cypress Projects?
I moved to Cypress Project in 1975. When we moved there, it was like leaving like the suburb, going to the ghetto, because leaving Bedford-Stuyvesant, moving to East New York back in that period of time, it was like hard to take because it was safer in Bedford-Stuyvesant, and moving to Cypress is like the concrete jungle.
Why not, Steve?
Okay. What were the projects like during that time?
Man, the project was dingy, dirty, pissy, from, you know, people pissing in the hallways, dangerous. You know, you had crime, like from rape, murder, robbery, drug dealing, everything. Like everything was on display, you know, back in those days in the projects.
No. We're not really going to wait for that stuff because it's all the grittiness is good, but we'll rehash that one.
Okay.
Steve, hand left for me. Yeah.
All right. So what was it like growing up in the projects? Can you do that one more time?
What it was like growing up in the project was like rough, man. It was just different. Like it was like no man land. Any and everything goes. Whereas you see a little bit of everything. You know, back then, you know, I was like 12 years old, and it just like a whole totally different environment, man. Like whereas you go outside, you can see anything, man.
Okay. Were you close with your siblings?
Yeah, very close. Like with me and my siblings, like those were my best friends. Those like, you know, people that came out the same wounds, like people that you knew you can trust. Like my brother and my sister was like all I had. They was my best friend. They was my brother. They was my sister. And the love that we taught among us was, you know, it was unbreakable.
What was your relationship like with your father?
With my father, the relationship with him was strange. It was like I can sit back and tell you about a story. Like my father used to come around once in a while. And I remember one time in particular, we was at 685 Horsey Street in the Bedford-Stuyvesant section. And he came around and he gave me and my brothers and sister like $20 a piece. So when he left, we praised him. And I can remember our exact word, my daddy this, my daddy this, my daddy this, coming from me, my brother, my sister. And it was like we was blowing up this inflated balloon, and we keep blowing it, blowing it, blowing it. And my mother didn't say a word. She let us, like, you know, blow it up to the maximum size that can go. And then what she did was she just took out this pen, and she just told us, here it is, this man come around once every blue moon. He give y'all guys $20 a piece, and now y'all think y'all rich. Here it is, if it wasn't for the man that she had in her life at the time, which happened to be my stepdad, you know, y'all don't even appreciate him. This man helped me to provide for y'all. This man helped me to take care of y'all guys, help us to do and live a more comfortable life, but y'all don't respect him, y'all don't give him the time of the day. But your dad come around every blue moon, and he give y'all $20, now y'all think y'all rich. So that was like a wake-up call. What she did by saying that, and I'm talking about that was probably like 40-something years ago, she took that pen, that invisible pen, and stuck it into that balloon and made all the air go out. Help us to deal with reality and make us like change our focus and appreciate, you know, my stepdad more.
Okay.
Shut up, Steve.
What kind of student were you?
I was an average student. I could have been doing much better than I was doing, but it's like I was just average. You know, my reading comprehension was always good. I love math, and I always excelled. So I did enough just to get by. So I consider myself an average student.
Steve, go back to your frame, and I would see both walls. Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to do that.
Yeah, that's good.
How involved were you with church?
Very, very involved.
So just start that one. You know, I was involved with church.
Okay. I was involved in church, you know, it was like every year during Easter time, we used to all go to church. Me, my brother and sister, my first cousin, because my mom's and her sister used to live like, you know, blocks away. So every Easter, that's the only time we went to church. And they always used to warn us, look, eventually we're going to start going to church each and every Sunday. So one particular, I think in 1975, after that Easter, every Sunday we was going to church. Had to join the usher board, the singing choir. We was going to Sunday morning service, Bible study, evening service. It's like we was church out. So I got baptized in the church.
Okay. What is your earliest recollection of getting into trouble?
My early recollection of getting into trouble, it's like, man, like I would say probably like 1975. That's my early recollection of getting into trouble. You know, it's like, you know, doing stupid stuff, you know, stealing from family members.
Okay. Were you considered a bad kid in school or at home?
I wasn't considered a bad kid. I was considered, you know, I think I was more of a follower back then. Not a bad kid, not a good kid, but in between kid. It's like you know right from wrong, but you was always on that edge.
Steve, tighten up.
Okay. What was the first felony level crime you committed?
Oh man, the first felony level crime that I committed, I like to say in high school, whereas this young guy, you know, I'm in the 9th grade, he's in the 9th grade, and I was going to Franklin K. Lane at the time. And you know what? I wanted a pretzel. I didn't have enough money to get a pretzel. So I asked this guy, you know, I can't think of his first name, but his last name was Chambers. I asked him, I said, "Look, man, look, let me get some money to get me a pretzel." And he told me no. And all of a sudden, I just slapped him, and he gave me everything. And I said, "Look, I don't want everything. I only asked enough to get me a pretzel." So he gave me the money. I got the pretzel. The next thing you know, I was suspended for robbery and assault.
Okay. What was your first interaction with the police?
I'm gonna cut you right here.
Okay.
Just for 1 second. Andy.
Yeah.
Do you got another mic I can come on?
Yeah.
Let me put one on. Speed?
Speeding.
I just got a quick follow-up to that. Again, just keep looking right straight ahead. So, what do you think that taught you when that experience in 9th grade where you hit a kid and he gave you money? Did you think you learned anything from that? Like,
No, I didn't learn anything. The crazy part about that is when I hit the kid, they suspended me from school, And then we had a hearing with the Board of Education, and the parents, his parent, didn't want to press charges. They gave me a hell of a break because they could have pressed charges. I could have, got arrested and went to juvenile, but they chose not to. So did it teach me anything? No, because it's not like I got better. It's like I got worse.
Well, that's really my question. My question is not did you learn not to behave that way. It's more you kind of got what you wanted with violence.
Yeah, I got what I wanted with violence. Either when I slapped him, when I asked him nicely, hey, I need enough money to get a press suit, and when he nicely turned me down, I didn't like that. I just slapped the living daylight out of him, and he gave me everything. And even when that happened, it just show you. It's like when you do something and present it the right way, no. But when you come out, and if I didn't hit him, he wouldn't have gave me anything. But when I hit him, it scared the shit out of him that he just went in his pocket and he gave me everything that he had.
Okay.
Lost the mirror, Ken. I gotta pan it.
All right. Cut.
Okay. All right. What was your first interaction with the police?
My first interaction with the police, I like to say in 1978, whereas like me and me and one of my first cousin and my buddy Domino, we was working for the slip cover company, and we was giving out flyers. Like we'll go out there to a certain part of Brooklyn and we meet up with a group, and they'll drive us all throughout the metropolitan area, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx. And what we do is we deliver flyers and putting on people's cars or going to apartment complex, putting in people's doors or mailbox. And during that period of time, it's like these older guys, when we got back to the office, they were telling the boss that we were slow, we wasn't up to speed, and they wanted to get rid of us. So when they wanted to get rid of us, it's like they was gonna pay us and send us on our merry way. And this so happened, the boss, his partner came, and he came, to the office, and he dropped off an envelope full of cash. And they was like distracted, and I saw where he put the money at. So I'm looking at Domino, he looking at me, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna get this money. So as they went in the back, I went to the drawer with the envelope full of money, and I grab it. And when I grab it and I see that nobody noticed it, I just disappear, and I went, out, and I went to a location to hide the money. And it was like an apartment building, like nice apartment building, towards like the Coney Island section of Brooklyn. And I took the stash of money and hid it under a rock. And I went to the store and bought soda to play it off. And as I got back to that location, they didn't even know I was gone. So what wound up happening, the boss made the decision they was gonna get rid of us. So they was gonna use that cash that I took to pay us. So when they went to get that cash wasn't there. So being that cash wasn't there, like, hold on, the only people was there was y'all guys and a couple other people. So they called the cops. So basically when they called the cops and the cops came and they questioned us, they searched us and we didn't have anything and they let us go. And later on that day, we came back, I went to that stash, got our pay that I stole, and then I got the pay from what the company was gonna give us, and we went on our merry way, went to the Delancey Street and went shopping.
Okay. How did you get the nickname Glaze?
I got the nickname Glaze from my buddy Domino, Curtis Domino Gibbs, may his soul rest in peace. Domino had a name Domino, like Domino Sugar, and my brother, who was his right-hand man, he had the name Kool-Aid. So, like, we gotta get your name, So he came up with
Like the city sounds and all, it's all okay. He'll interrupt me if he can't hear. It was a lot louder to us than it is because that mic's right up here. All right, Tom.
All right. Okay. So just to back it up a little bit, before you go to jail, when you're in Brooklyn and you're working, the 18 gives you a section. How much money are you making at that time when you're in Brooklyn selling drugs?
Back in that period of time, it all depends. Because, with the 18, like, once I got down with them and made them a proposition that they could not refuse, whereas I wanted to take over the whole block. And once I allowed them to know my plans, because I seen how the Dominican was coming in, and they wasn't even from around the Brooklyn locality of that area. They wasn't even around East New York. They was coming from the Bronx, Manhattan, and they had establishment. So when I seen that, I'm like, hold up, we can't have that. So when I went to them with the proposition, look, man, either y'all can get down with me and we can take over this whole block, or I'm gonna bring my people in and we're gonna take over the whole block. And if I bring my people in, we take over the whole block, y'all can keep y'all little hours, but we gonna take over the rest. So the leader of the A team, more or less initially told me, go ahead. He didn't want no part of it. Then they must be thought about it, because what if, Glaze is successful at doing this? So what wound up happening, me and him wound up doing it. Taking over the whole block by lining up a couple of the Dominicans, putting them on the floors and put guns to their head. And just so happened before we pulled the trigger, it wound up cops, a few cops came out of nowhere outside. And when, we got tipped off 5-0, 5-0, 5-0, you look out and you see they got cops everywhere. So what we did was, me and him, we went up to the roof and basically right now kicked the door open and jumped from roof to roof and got back to the projects. But when we got together and we took over it, these guys kind of like, man, we not mess with this. They went down to the precinct, looked at the mugshot, they didn't pick nobody out. My man Iref got arrested during the process, but the Dominican gave it up with no problem. So when I got my part in my days or whatever, I split it with my right-hand man, King Tut at the time. So on a good day, you can see anywhere from, it all depends, during our hours, anywhere from 10 to 15, 20,000. It all depends.
Again, just remind you to keep your eyes there.
Okay.
So just follow up.
My bad.
No worries. Can you? So a couple questions. One, what gave you the balls to think you could take over?
What gave me the balls? It wasn't the balls. It was just analyzing. For some reason, it's like with me, I pay attention to everything. And when you see, how these guys were coming into the area and how they were setting up, it gave me the indication, these guys not local. These guys not from around here. So when I look at that, wait a minute, they not built like we are built. So as I look and understand that they wasn't built like I was built, and I see a weakness and I saw an opportunity, I decided to seize the moment. Not knowing how it was gonna win, but guess what? By me going by my instinct, I was right. Because once I made the move that I made, guess what? They was out of there. So I detect weakness, you smell weakness, and you exploit weakness.
What was it like being on top, making all that money? What was it like on the street? What was it like in your personal life? What was going on in your head?
It was a natural high, man. It's like, once your reputation precedes itself, you become this individual that you didn't think you can become, and it become like a natural high, man. What I got high off of? I got high off of women, getting all the sex that you can get, and money, man. I didn't even get high. That was my high.
So, what kind of stuff did you have, if you could, material-wise? Is that where you were spending your money? Was it cars, women, nights out? Where were you living? What was going on once you had pockets full of money like that?
During the period of time, I was making $40,000 a day. When I was making $40,000 a day, you couldn't tell me nothing, man. It's like you was living that life, man. I remember being away in Green Haven when I did 150 days. I had 150 days in the hole. You did a lot of reading, you did a lot of research. And one story I was fascinated about as a kid, The Godfather. And even as I read the book, The Godfather, what I gathered out of that book is a power structure. You want a power structure so strong that nothing can penetrate through it. That you got people illegally and legally in the right places, on the police department and the parole department and the district attorney office and the U.S. attorney office working for you. So here it is, before something that can actually happen, you know the information, or you getting the information. Now, once you get there, because this is what you want, this is what you think you want. Once you get there, you find out you don't want that. You got co-ops. I'm living in a neighborhood with Geraldine Ferraro. Geraldine Ferraro ran for vice president with Walter Mondale, back in the days or whatever. When you live in the area that they live in, the neighborhood that they living in, you doing good for yourself. When you living in buildings, when you got doorman, concierge, security, and they thinking you living there because your moms, your dad is doctors and lawyer, not knowing, and they thinking you a student, not knowing this is your place. Despite it's not in your name, but this is your place because people put things. When you got money, money is power. When you got power, you can do anything that you want. So my money at that time went into, I had places, you know, we bought my mother a baby mansion in Charleston, South Carolina. I had co-ops and condo in Virginia Beach, New York City. You know, that's where my money went, besides tricking on females.
Keep your eyes right there. So tell me a little bit about, talked about, you know, the movie The Godfather. What was the power structure? What was the pecking order in your business?
You know, the power structure was like you just wanted people, strong people in the right places. You just want, you know, you're making $40,000 a day, so you want to make sure, like at one point in time, I had people in different departments that feeding me information. Like, you know, even right now, when the police got killed in Queens, like I was their #1 suspect. Like, you know, who killed Edward Burns? 103rd, 113, and 75 precinct, they felt I was their guy. I had enough balls, I was crazy enough to do that. So even when they picked me up, they gave me a murder that I actually was responsible for. And at that time, I was able to get the information who was my witness was gonna be against me. And with that being said, I knew how to attack the situation. So when you talk about the power structure, you know, that's what you're talking about. You want people to be on the inside and on the outside because that's how you're able to play chess. That's the power structure, playing chess, being ahead of the game opposed to being behind the game.
What was it like, and again, just keep your eyes there, what was it like to play both sides? Meaning you had your people, but you were also dealing with the lawyers, were you paying off cops? Like how did you cross that street to be able to get the other kind of people that could help you?
You know what? It's networking. It's like building bonds and building relationship. Because once again, when you have relationship with people before they become cop, before they start working in DA office, before they start working in U.S. Attorney office, before they start working anyway, when you have that relationship and that bond, then it's not hard to penetrate. It's easy because once again, you know, everybody look at Brian Glaze Gibbs. I became Brian Glaze Gibbs by the age of like 24. You know, everything I have done was by the age of 24. I grew up fast, and you know what you want. Let me rephrase that. You think you know what you want until you get it. Because once I got that power structure, once I was able to say who live and who die, you know what? You realize that's not what you really want. I'm not God.
You believe in God?
Yes, I do. I believe in God. I'm a Christian. I'm baptized. Don't get me wrong. I think the Bible is the most difficult book that I ever read in my life. Most book I read, I can comprehend it as if I'm looking at TV or looking at a movie. But the Bible is one of the most complicated books that I've ever read in my whole life.
God. Matt, mirror bud, you just told me you believe in God. So tell me what role, if any, at the time when people were getting killed, robbed, you were involved with, how did you balance your belief in God with what you were doing?
I didn't balance my belief in God when I was out there committing crime. I didn't value my original teaching and upbringing because I went astray. I was like lost sheep. I went astray. I went away from my original upbringing and teaching. Why? I can't even explain to you because I wanted to be down. I was more or less in love with the street. When you're in love with the street versus your original principle, you're in love with Satan. So you're in love with Satan and you're doing everything that, you know, the devil wants you to do because you're right. I grew up in church. I was baptized. I used to serve on an usher board, sing in a choir. But yet and still, I allowed myself to go astray. Why? Because I fell in love with the street. I fell in love with the perspective and the outlook. I want to be down. I want to be cool. When you're a goody two-shoes, are you a church boy? Are you singing in the choir? Guess what, man? The most powerful thing in this world, and people don't understand it, is what between a woman's leg. And I hate to say that, but that's true. So what I was trying to do at the present time, impress what? The girls. I wanted to be down. I wanted to be cool. If I'm the church boy, if I'm the choir boy, if I'm the usher boy, guess what? The girls won't give you the time of the day. They give more or less like these street guys or these gangsters or these wannabes the time of the day than they'll give to the goody two-shoes.
What do you think about what role ego plays, whether it was fights, shooting somebody, ladies, money, men and ego? Like, have you ever thought about that?
Ego is a monster, man. Because once again, when you allow yourself to get caught up and you allow yourself to not differentiate the two, you know what? You lost. Because at the same token, what you have to do is be strong enough to differentiate the two. Like ego, pride. You know what I'm saying? Temper is what gets us into trouble. Pride is what keeps us there because you feel you got something to prove.
Would you have felt differently if you ever hurt anybody who wasn't in your world? Would you carelessly, or was all the violence always around the world you were living in?
No, because I was kind of like different. Like, in all honesty, I look at my life and I look at certain situation, and my life, honestly, was like a rhyme and reason. If it don't make sense, you don't do it. It's a lot of things in life that I could have done because I was in position, I had the power. But what I always try to do is make people, going back to the Godfather, an offer they couldn't refuse. And what I mean by that, I can remember being in power and my cousin, he got into a big beef in Apollo Theater, whereas he's at the Apollo Theater around a group of people. And everybody up there fronting, everybody acting other than themselves. A bunch of guys, a bunch of girls, they drinking, having a good time at the Apollo Theater. And just so happened, a guy that's supposed to be his buddy, they was real close. This guy was a drug dealer. He had a bar in the Bronx called the Round Table. And even right now at that bar, he was very successful. So he made a joke. And I guess my cousin got offended by that joke because everybody started laughing. And put in mind, my cousin probably about like 6'2", solid. And this cat was probably like 5'7", short, kind of chubby. And my cousin slapped him. And when he slapped him in the Apollo Theater, he broke a pair of eyeglasses, Gazelles, which was very popular at the time, in his face. And, security came and broke it up, escorted both of them out of there. So when the guy was leaving, his name was World, he told my cousin, yo, you a dead man. When I catch you, it's on, you dead. So even with that being said, my cousin from the Bronx, he's from Manhattan. He came down and he see me. And he came and told me, look, what took place, and this guy wanted to kill him. So when he told me that, what I did, I'm glazed in. Right now I'm down. I'm the #1 guy for the Fat Cat Lorenzo Nickel organization. I got juice, I got clout. So what we did was we went uptown to Manhattan to the Bronx to squash this shit. So what I did was we went to this guy, Kevin Childs. He got this magazine called Don Diva, and at that present time, he had a sneaker shop on 125th Street. So we went there. When we went there and we came into the facility, it's a place of business. They sell sneakers, clothes, athletic gears. So when we went in there, my guys, saying right now is they got on army fatigue, and they got Uzi strapped around, like Mac 10 strapped around their neck. So as we enter in there, and the guy I said, look, I'm here to find out information where World is at. He said, man, hold on, wait, man. Y'all guys coming in here with your guns out. Y'all coming, time out. We're customers. I'm here to buy. Let me get a couple pair of sneakers. Let me get a couple pair of socks. Let me get a couple pair of sweatshirts, whatever. And that's what I did. Now, do you know where World is at? I purchased the item. The guy told me no. All right. So what we did, we left. And my cousin took me to the spot where World had a bar in the Bronx. So we went to that bar. When we went to that bar, I guess World got the word at the time that we was looking for him. Back then, keep in mind, we didn't have cell phones. They had pager, they had beeper. So automatically, when people paid you, and 9 out of 10, when they want you, there's a sense of urgency, they use the code 911. So you know to get back to him. So he must be got tipped off that we was on our way and we was looking for him. So when I got to the Bronx and we got out, he was coming out of his bar. And I caught him in the middle of the street. I said, look, I want to talk to you. Yo, man, y'all guys looking for me. Y'all look here to kill me. No, look at me. I show him. Only thing I had was a neck full of jewelry. I pull up my shirt to show him. Only thing I got on a bulletproof vest. I don't got no guns. So as me and him, let me talk to you. He let me into his bar. Me and him went into his bar, and we sat down and had a heart-to-heart conversation. And during that heart-to-heart conversation, I'm able to, look, man, if you kill my cousin, he's dead, you got 25 life. Y'all both lose. It's no winner in that situation. So what is going to take for the squash it? So he asked me the quality question. If somebody would have slapped you in your face in Apollo Theater around a bunch of people, how will you react? I said, first of all, you're not me, I'm not you. Now, we good, bad, what?
We got change.
All right, stop right there.
Trying
Yeah, we just ran out of. All right, cool. So, so finish up that story. So you're in the bar, and you're having to sit down with him. And
Yeah, I'm at the,
he asks you what you would have done.
Yeah, I'm at King Arthur, and I'm talking to the guy, World, that my cousin slapped in the Apollo Theater, and I'm trying to come up with a positive resolution for the situation. And as I'm talking to him, I'm like, look, man, what is it going to take for this situation to go away? So he basically asked me, man, look, man, if somebody slapped you in Apollo Theater and broke your gazelle in your face, what will you do? I said, first of all, you're not me, I'm not you. I said, hopefully, I would be in a rightful state of mind, knowing I couldn't do anything and get away with it in a crowded, Apollo Theater. So that being said, I say, but how much does the gazelle cost? So he told me his gazelle cost $500. I went in my pocket, gave him $500, five $100 bill cash. So now I'm saying, look, man, you kill him, he's dead, you got 25 life. I said, look, man, do your homework, do your research, ask about who Glaze is. I said, to me, if you want heroin, you want cocaine, I can get that for you. I said, even right now, if you want somebody hit, anybody besides my cousin, I owe you. I'm in your pocket. So I'm making you an offer to squash it, and whatever you need, I can do it for you. So even with that being said, he read into it, and what he did was, him and my cousin, they was able to squash that beef. But he really didn't have a choice, because if he's telling me he's gonna kill my cousin, then guess what? He would have to die then. But just so happened, I was able to convince him to dissolve that, to resolve that in a positive sense.
Something tells me that probably was not a hard decision.
I don't know, man,
day.
but the only thing you can do is make that presentation, man.
So I have a question. Do you think back then you were just doing business all the time and everything is kind of like casualty of war, or do you think you were a bad guy?
You know what? I think I was a fair guy. It wasn't casualty of war. It wasn't no bad guy. It was a common sense guy. Because once again, that's when I think that being a Christian, being fair. My mother, who's my mother, my father, my big sister, my best friend, she always was stern, but she was fair. And I think I kind of adapt that behavior because once again, despite I was Brian Glaze Gibbs, and at one point in time I was accused of having one murder a week for a year and a half, it's like, you know what? I didn't let shit go to my head. Just because you are in control, but if you go against the grain, eventually the grain gonna go against you. And my thing was always about common sense, basic principle, and dealing with situation to the best of your ability, especially when you are in that right state of mind. Don't get me wrong. When I'm highly upset, it's no rationality. But when I'm able to think about it, it's always rhyme and reason.
Couple more questions from me, and then that's it. So from me, and then Tom probably has some. So can you list for me, it doesn't have to be real names or whatever, can you list people that you killed?
All the people that I killed, despite Brooklyn, Queens, police department, they felt I averaged a murder a week from a year, from June 22nd, 1987 to November 10th, 1988. They felt I averaged a murder a week. But the murder that I, Brian Glaze Gibbs, was responsible for is as follows. Civil Mims, I got acquitted for that. I went to trial and I beat that at trial. The next one, Maisha. Maisha was Fat Cat girlfriend. I was responsible for that. Besides Maisha, Clifton Rice, Maurice Bellamy, Keith Reedy, Artel Benson.
The one that you got acquitted for, because you said you had gotten some names of witnesses, how did you get acquitted on that?
I got acquitted on it because I went to trial and they had a weak case. The brother, how they was able to take me to trial, because initially when Amawi got arrested and they told him, look, we know you didn't pull the trigger. Glaze is through. We know Glaze, he's a crazy guy. We know he killed her. So what he did, he made a video confession, and he admitted that I pulled the trigger. But the difference is, it was his word against my word. So they needed corroboration evidence. And what they did was they used her brother. He claimed that a few months later, I caught him. I tried to kill him in a crowded White Castle restaurant on Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn. That didn't happen. So he fabricated that because he was a crackhead and he got kicked out of the house. So once he fabricated that, his family told him to go ahead with that. And he went to the precinct and they wound up getting me arrested and getting me indicted for the civil mem stuff. Why I wound up beating that, because Amari, initially that was the getaway driver, he didn't testify. So when I went to trial with my lawyer, Murray Cutler, hell of a lawyer, Bruce Cutler, John Gotti lawyer, we beat that trial.
How expensive was he as a lawyer? What did he cost you?
He cost me a pretty penny, man. Right now where it's like, it didn't matter when you facing life, it doesn't matter. Money is not an objective. And at that present time, I had it. And Murray, like what I love about Murray was a good guy. Because the bottom line is right now, he was fair, he was straightforward, and he took care of me. Even when I caught the federal case. And when I caught the federal case, I hired a lawyer when I was in South Carolina to get a bail, but based upon I had an open ticket and it was first class, and the judge like, look, man, I'm a judge. I make good money. And here it is, you was able to have an open class, first class ticket, and you don't have a job. That's a person telling me they didn't care about money. Money was not an issue to them. So with Murray, when I caught the federal case and he came to see me, he told me straight up top, man, don't waste your money, man. Don't even hire me to take this case, because Perry Mason, as far as the TV show, like he was a great lawyer and he won all his cases, he couldn't even get you out of this one. So that's when I caught the federal case and Murray couldn't take the case and he gave me the advice or whatever, that's when I can't afford to hire an attorney. What the sense of wasting my money when I know I'm facing life and I might be spending the rest of my life in jail? I need all the money I can get.
So is that what led you to plead and get you into kind of your life now?
No, basically my co-defendant, Lorenzo Fat Cat Nichols, he let me to plead. Basically right now, where sometimes you can be more loyal to people than they are to you. And when I went to him with a proposition after I got extradited back to New York City from being on the run for 90 days, and I sat down and I talked to him, I said, look, man, they want you, they want me, they want Pappy, they want our heroin connection. You got your mother in this case. You got your wife, your girlfriend, your nieces, your sister in this case. Pappy got his mom in the case. I got we got my brother. We got the same father in the case. Why don't we let them make a deal and go against us so they can more or less go on with their life? So what he did, despite he already had 25 to life, he told me, look, why don't you go to trial first and let's see what they got against you, then I go to trial. And to me, I pay attention to everything. And when he made that statement, hold up, time out, man. You're not gonna use me as a human guinea pig because you already got 25 to life. I don't have shit. Despite I'm a career criminal, and one thing about me, I'm not no dummy, I listen. And sometimes you can be more loyal to people than they are to you. So when he made that statement, it kind of opened my eyes and made me recalculate it and made me reevaluate my whole situation and made me make the decision that I made.
When you were selling drugs, what kind of drugs were you selling?
Crack, powder cocaine, and heroin.
How did it work? Where did the drugs come from? How did you get them? Kind of what was the business model?
The drugs back then, initially when I first got in, before I got down with Cat, you can find anybody selling drugs or whatever. You can go throughout, different part of Manhattan, Washington Heights, and you got different connection, and you buy, your cocaine, and the quality is good enough, you more cook it up to crack. But as time went on, and once I got down with Lorenzo Fat Cat Nichols organization, he had people begging him to give him supplies. Because once again, his name, he was one of the biggest drug dealers on the East Coast at the time. So once I got into heroin and started selling heroin, I can remember the first time he gave me some heroin. And everybody know, like, it's crazy. Because for years, the first time somebody made mention of drugs, I say no. I was like Nancy Reagan, just say no to drugs. You know, because you see the effect as a kid, what it did to people. When I used to live in the Bedford-Stuyvesant section of Brooklyn, and you see people nodding out on stoops and sidewalk, like out from the addiction, because that's how powerful that drug was. You see men's beating up their woman, beating a woman to a pulp, bloody and everything. And you see cops, this is me being a kid, and you see cops coming up on a guy, look, you can't do that. Yo, don't tell me what I can do. This is my wife, this is my girlfriend. And these cops drive off like it's no problem. So when you see the impact of what heroin or drug did to people, I was always against that. Until as time went on, whereas if I'm gonna be a criminal and you wanna make money, drug was the answer.
How did you not get busted for drugs? Was there payoffs or any of that stuff going on?
You didn't get busted for drugs because once again, you try. The worst thing you can get is a hand-to-hand sell. And to me, I never made a hand-to-hand sell. I'm not gonna make a hand-to-hand sell. That's why you got workers. That's why you got spots. And most of the time when you got spots, it's a door. And I can remember, you know, sometimes some of the spots that we had like steel doors. And you had abandoned building, or you had storefronts. And people go back at the storefront, or they go to these damn buildings, and they slide their money in the slot, and they get their drugs. So to me, like, I was never directly involved where it's actually me making a sale. You always had people working for you making the sales.
Okay. How big was, when you were in Brooklyn, were you aware of Fat Cat, and just talk about like how big he was at the time?
You know what? Like, Fat Cat name was ringing since '83. So even when I came home in '84, Fat Cat was the name. So everybody wanted to be down with Fat Cat, because once again, if you down with Fat Cat, you gonna make big money.
All right, how serious was like?
Flare.
Oh.
We gotta move it back over.
All right.
Matt?
How many more you got?
About 4 or 5.
4 or 5 questions, Brian, and we're done.
Say what? Yeah, I'm good.
4 or 5 questions, and then we'll eat some pizza, and that's it.
Pick me out. I'm here, man. I got free time, man. Damn, man. Redhead got the wallet.
How do you think you got those Stan Smiths?
I don't know, man. Look, hey, he must be got those long time ago. Got to be the hair, man. The Beavis and Butthead, man. I think which one of them had red hair? Which one of them had red hair, man?
Well,
Oh, Beavis?
Yep.
So which one are you, man? Butthead. You Butthead?
Today, for sure, he's butthead.
How old you are, man?
23.
Baby, man. Damn, 23, man. That's good, man. Shit, when I was 23,
We just heard about what happened when you were
I was in jail, man. When I was 23, I was in jail, man. Yo, man, look, man, 23, man. Got any kids?
Not yet.
Not yet? All right, man. Wait till you're older, man. Wait till you're older. Wait till you get all that bullshit out of you. I think right now, parenthood is when you're older, man. When you mature and you got all that bullshit out of your system. Because now you're able to be receptive. 2 kids. I got 2. I got one 31 and one is 19. And to me, like, if I had a chance to do it all over again, I wouldn't even have kids. I would wait till I was much older. Parenthood is a monster, man.
Makes a difference.
Parenthood is a monster, man. It's a hell of a responsibility. And you know what the biggest thing is about parenthood? It's nothing like a mother love. Nothing like a mother love. I was a professional mama boy. When my mother died, I was incarcerated. They didn't let me go to the funeral.
Really?
Nah, man, because of Brian Glaze Gibbs.
How old were you?
28. You know what the crazy part about it is? February 9th, 1992, man. That was the worst day of my life, man. And it helped you because, you know, it helped you put things in perspective, man. And it changed you. You start going back to your original upbringing and teaching, man. And like, I don't give what anybody say. Me, I was a professional mama boy, man. I don't give a damn. I tell you, like, man, you kidding me? I love my moms. My moms, my brother, my sister, they was there from the beginning. I loved them. I would die for them. I would kill for them. And that's different. When I lost her, and she kind of prepared me for that, because on our last visit, she told me, look, you and your brother, me and my brother was beefing at the time, and she was saying, look, y'all gonna need each other. I said, you know what? Look, Mom, I'm not gonna need him or whatever. She said, look, y'all gonna need each other. You know what I'm saying? She's like, I'm not gonna always be here. I'm like, Mom, don't tell me nothing like that. What I'm gonna do? What do you mean what you gonna do? The same that I did when I lost my mom. My mom died at 52 years old. 52 years old. And what I'm saying is right now, man, like, that helped me to put life in perspective. Like when she died, it's like I got sent this, like probably like 17 days later. And when she died, I was in a hole, I was in a box, based because people was scared of me in the facility. And they thought, when I get mad, what I was gonna do. I didn't do anything, but they had me under investigation. So I can remember February 9th, 1992, when I made that call that night and found out it was on a Sunday that she died. And I'm in Minnesota at the time, in a hole in a box. And when I found out she died, that shit, man, like you talk about wake up call. And not only that, the next day, when I was able to make another call in a hole, isolated, stranded, 24 hours a day, when I made that call, and I'm asking God, help me, let me know my mother's all right. I'm in Minnesota, Sandstone, Minnesota. It's a blizzard. And the only thing you see is white snow. And as I'm looking through the cell, looking through the window, what I saw when I asked for that prayer, let me know my mother's all right, I saw in that blizzard, I'm talking about probably 6 to 8 feet of snow, I saw a white rabbit dashing through the snow. So that was my confirmation to let me know my mother was all right. And even though, like, you're responsible for people dying or whatever, it took the death of my mother to help me realize what I put the victim and their victim family through. And with that type of pain, you don't wish on your worst enemy, man. But when you in there and you playing Grand Theft Auto, you play Grand Theft Auto?
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? See, I never played Grand Theft Auto. You know what? I did. But I didn't play it the game. I played it in real life, even before it was even existed. I had a death wish. I didn't know it because of shit that I was doing, the things that I was doing. So you lucky. Why? You smart. You playing the game. You're not playing it for real life. And that's what it's all about. My story is, how do I prevent people from getting caught up into that fantasy island world, thinking the street life is it, man? How do we prevent these kids from making that multi-billion-dollar prison system their permanent address, man? My story is, crime doesn't pay, man. It's easy. Anybody can commit a crime. But how easy it is, it's hard to get up every day, punch a clock, doing a 9 to 5. That's the difference. That's why my slogan, crime doesn't pay, man.
What would you say back to, and again, just look right there. What have you said, or what could you say to the families of the people that you hurt?
What can I say is being truthful, man. I'm sorry. Like, to me, I made a mistake. I allowed myself to
right there.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna ask you again.
Okay.
What would you say if they were right there to the people that you hurt?
What I would say is, I'm genuine sorry. I apologize for my action, my behavior. I apologize for my stupidity. I apologize for getting caught up in the bullshit and allow myself to let go. Let myself to be responsible for the death of your loved ones. To me, it took pain to understand, my pain, to understand the pain and suffering that I put the victim and the victim family through. And with that type of pain, you wouldn't wish upon your worst enemy.
How young were you when you, like, what do you think clicked? And how young were you when you thought about that life was the life for you?
Back then, you 14, you 15, you want to be down, you want to be cool. When you grow up in New York City and people don't understand, New York City is Broadway, light, camera, action. So the key is, you on stage, you performing, and people do not understand that, man. We're fronting, we acting, and actors and actors acting other than ourselves. Because we want to be down, we want to be cool, we want to be accepted, we want to be the in crowd. Not understanding, we're not the in crowd, We the fool crowd, you know, because once again, it's easy to commit a crime, to pull a trigger, to, you know, rob, steal, to take shortcut. It's hard to become that working class. Get up early in the morning, being disciplined, going to school, punching the clock, doing it right the first time. That's hard.
You have any guilt over your life?
I got plenty of guilt, man. You know, because I was too smart to get caught up in the bullshit that I got caught up into. But when you want to be down, you want to be cool, you want to be accepted, you take shortcuts, man. It's no shortcuts in life, man. Do it right the first time.
Okay. All right. So yeah. How serious was the Brooklyn and Queens thing at that time? Like the beef between Brooklyn and Queens.
You know what, beef? What is beef, man? Even we understand, we start talking about beef. There's no such thing as beef. It's like right now having an understanding. You can talk about the Brooklyn Queens beef. There's no Brooklyn Queens beef. It's like, to me, it's like, here it is. Everybody talking about racism. Everybody talking about prejudice. Let's sit back and think about it. Where my family, where your family, where everybody migrated from? You know, even with the East Coast, West Coast beef or whatever, everybody migrated from the South. So, and they go to New York, they go to LA, they go to Chicago, they go all these different places. So in actuality, if everybody migrated from the South and they go to these places, guess what? We all nothing but a bunch of country bunking, but we get somewhere else and we get another different identity, and it's a bunch of BS, man. How is racism gonna stop when you got prejudice among your own nationality?
All right.
Change battery.
All right.
Okay. Match. Okay, Tom.
All right. So how were you accepted when you went to like as a Brooklyn guy to go run a Queens operation?
I was not accepted, you know, going from Brooklyn, me being a Brooklyn guy, going to Queens, I'm an outsider. You know, they look at me like I'm an alien. You know, who the hell are you? Despite Lorenzo Fat Cat Nichols, one of the largest drug dealer on the East Coast, you know, basically, look, I want Brian Glaze Gibbs out there. He's the man at the time. I was not received well at all because I'm an outsider. I'm not them. I'm not part of them. I didn't grow with them. So I was not accepted. I had to slowly but surely prove myself and win them over.
Okay, tell us what the round table was, who the members were, and your relationship with the members.
The round table. Cat came out with the round table. And basically right now he got $40,000 pinky rings for each and every member. The original member was Lorenzo Fat Cat Nichols, Howard Pappy Mason, Kenneth Supreme McGriff, and Gerald Prince Miller. Those are the original 4 members. And basically right now, he established the round table to prevent any attack against the organization. As time went on, and I got acquitted for the murder, and I came home and I became a part of the organization, he made me, Brian Glaze Gibbs, a member, and he made Emery Matthew Bug Out a member. And with that being said, Cat, people don't understand with Lorenzo Fat Cat Nichols. Lorenzo Fat Cat Nichols is like a teddy bear. And what I mean by that, highly intelligent individual, whereas he got that country bunking mentality, but you think it's Simple Simon. You think it's like that hee-haw mentality, but I'm just saying he just rock people with sleep because he come across to you as this soft country bunking individual, but he just sizing you up and he know what type of approach to take with you. And the reason he came up with the round table after his wife got kidnapped off the street, as people posed as detective investigating the Bryant Rooney, his parole officer murder, after his girl, his main girlfriend, Lynn, got attacked, pistol whipped, and got robbed for a large sum of money, drugs, and everything else. He came up with how do we stop that? And what he feel by migrating Brooklyn and Queens together, that could prevent some of the chaos.
Okay. When you what did you think when you heard that the police officer Edward Burns was killed?
Straight into the lens. So.
what I thought as far as Edward Burns, when I first heard that, I can remember. I just left that block. I'm talking about in the wee hours in the morning. Probably like 3 o'clock in that morning. I left, me and Bug Out, partners. And Bug Out gave me $40,000 cash, my take. And when I got back to Cypress, when I got back to my area, what wound up happening was, I'm like this, man. Like, I pay attention to everything. I watch everyone and everything, their behavior, their action. So it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm watching. And then I'm seeing somebody approaching, coming from the train station, enter into the project. And I'm like, stop it. Got my hand on my joint, like trying to see who it is. And what happened was this guy came by, and I noticed who he was. He slapped me 5. And when he slapped me 5 and he walked off, it dawned on me. This guy was there when my little man got robbed for his jewelry, and he didn't stop it. And I was trying to get my man's shit back, but I couldn't because I was incarcerated at the time. So he was there when a buddy of mine got robbed. So he didn't do anything about it. He didn't try to prevent it. So once he slapped me 5 and he walked up, and I thought about that, you know, despite probably like a year and a half later, my mindset is, you know what? It's time for him to pay for his bad deed. So he got into the middle of the projects, and I ran up on him, and I started blasting him. I started shooting him. I killed him. And I didn't thought nothing about it. I disappeared in the dark, went to my apartment. Then the next day, I woke up to 911 pages. Because back then, we didn't have cell phones. We had pages. So I woke up to a bunch of 911 page, and it's from the guy that owned the bodega that we had a spot at. Me and Bug had his spot there, and this guy was making pretty good money. So when he paged me, and I finally woke up and I called him back, I'm asking what's going on. He didn't speak English. So it was very hard for me to understand him. But what I did understand was police was everywhere. Police was at the steel door trying to take it down. So I'm telling him, you know what? Probably somebody notified or noticed that a sale was made, and they was trying to, you know, they're gonna stay there until they get another call, and then they're gonna leave. So even with that being said, what wound up happening, as I'm in the kitchen of my Cypress Hill headquarters in Brooklyn, New York apartment, the radio station is on, and you hear the announcement. We interrupt this program to allow you to know that an NYPD rookie police officer was killed, execution style, 107 in Inwood. My mind, I'm in total shock. I'm in total disbelief. My first thing came to mind that whoever did it, they did it to make our area hot. That's my first thought. So as that day went on, what wound up happening, I'm getting called from Pappy. I'm getting called from Cat girlfriend Lynn. I'm getting called from Cat's sister Viola, because nobody heard from Cat. Nobody didn't know after that the cop got killed, that they came bright and early, you know, saying armed security and move them from the city to the state. And my objective by everybody contacting me, especially Pappy, Howard Mason, that we didn't have nothing to do with it. And plus, I'm on the outside. I'm running this shit from the outside, and I feel if anything gonna happen, guess what? I'm gonna know about it before it happened. And what I did was, because Queens was so hot, that area was so hot, that you can take a cigarette and put it in the ground, light a cigarette. So I stayed low until it got dark, and I went out there. Once I went out there and met with everybody at Cat's sister house, and my word was like, look, I felt whoever did it, they did it to make our area hot. And once I find out who was responsible for it, I'm gonna execute everybody. And just so happened, after the meeting, we went outside, one of the guys pulled me to the side and looked me in my eyes and said, yo, man, I killed the cop. And the order came from Pat. And I was so, like, disappointed. I was so surprised. And that was the beginning of the end.
Did you realize at that point that that was the beginning of the end?
Of course, man. You kill a cop, you kill any type of foreign law enforcement, yes, you know that's the beginning and end. You know, I'm talking about, if you look at history, man, I don't give a damn who you are, what you are, whatever. If you study the history, you look at movies, you look at television shows, you read books, you do not touch law enforcement agency under any circumstance. So to me, when that shit happened, and he told me what he told me, guess what? The writing was on the wall.
All right, just got a couple more questions. This one's.
Oh, Steve. What are the?
I wanted to ask you about King Allah, about when you shot him in the face.
Yeah. So Brian, still the lens all the way back there. All right.
I got it.
All right, man.
All right.
Tilt down, Steve.
Allah justice. So you gotta get the situation, and you shoot him in the face.
A lot of justice, Calvin McLeod, man.
One second, sorry. Just lower your water bottle down one step.
Right here?
Thank you. Sorry, Cam.
Or do you want me to put
Yeah,
it in
yeah,
the back?
that- no,
Want me
it's
to put it
good.
in the back of me?
It's good there.
That's good where it is. Thank you.
Okay. Allah justice. Can you tell us, like, you could get into the situation, but after you shoot him in the face, and you find out he survives. What are you thinking now?
A lot of justice, man. Prior to me shooting him in his face, these guys had me. They had me near the Fort Greene area. I was visiting a friend. She was more or less like a sister. So I'm on the block. And basically when I'm there, you know, me and her talking, her sister's in my decked out Volvo, and these guys, like I'm looking every way possible, east, west, south, north, and all of a sudden, it's like these guys, 3 guys approach me. Allah Justice, K-Sean, and this other guy. And when they approach me, I'm like, ah, shit. Like to me, as I'm seeing them getting close to me, I'm getting nervous because I don't have a gun. I got a bulletproof vest on, got a bunch of jewelry on, but I don't have a gun. These dudes are known stick-up kids, known killer. So, and they were responsible for killing my man Hollywood, Christopher Brothers. So as they approach me, you know, I'm looking at my car, but her sister's in my car. And I'm saying to myself, like, I'm not a driver. I hate driving. I don't even like driving to work. So I'm saying, like, if I get in my car and trying to back out in a one-way street, they gonna gun me down. So just so happened, the closer they got, as they got right up to me within range, her sister drive off in my brand new Volvo. And to me, as these guys approach me, I'm like, shit. Like, I'm nervous. I'm scared to death. Because, you know, I'm facing 3 killers right now, and I don't have a damn gun. So a lot of justice, Calvin McLeod, we grew up together. We go back to Bed-Stuy, you know, went to public school together. So he embraced me. When he embraced me, he felt the bulletproof vest. And the first thing out of his mouth, man, you right. So when he said that I'm right, I said, come on, man. You know I stay right, nigga. So, you know, I'm going to my Academy Award, my fronting mode. So, you know, and I'm putting my hands close by like I got something. So me and K-Sean, his right-hand man, who killed my buddy, Hollywood, we get in the stare-down contest. So as we get in the stare-down contest, this probably went on for like 45 seconds to a minute. And finally, just like, come on, man, no. You my man, K-Sean my man, y'all gotta squash this shit or whatever. So I took an opportunity and I piggyback off of that. And I told him, I said, look, man, I appreciate the fact when I was incarcerated fighting the civil men's murder that, you know, me and him talked via King Tut. And he like, yo, man, I respect you. I look up to you. Whatever you need from me, let me know. I help you out. I said, I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact when after the Wood murder that you let me know that homicide detective was looking at me for the Wood murder. I said, I appreciate that. I said, I just want to know one thing, man to man, did you kill Wood? This bold, light-skinned brother with curly hair looked me in my eyes and asked this question. If you kill somebody, will you tell me? So basically, I said, you know what? You right. But deep down inside, what I'm trying to tell you, what he was telling me, that he did it. That's what he was telling me. So it doesn't matter whether I did it or whether I didn't do it. I'm going to look in your eyes and tell you, no, I didn't have nothing to do with it or whatever. So what wound up happening, you know, we shook, we hugged, left it as that. And that was the fate because I already know I'm going to get him. So like Allah Justice, yo, Glaze, look, man, I want to get down with you. I want to get down with Money and Murder. You know, that was my nickname. You know, with my round table ring, it had a G and had M&M for Money and Murder. So I said, look, man, come by, see me. I'll hook you up with, you know, some heroin or some coke, whatever you want. I'll hook you up. You know, here's my number, here's my information. Come by and see me. Because me and Just grew up from childhood. So just so happened right now, when they left, the young lady that stood by me, I told her, what's wrong with you? I say, these guys, they was gonna kill me. And they're gonna kill me, they're gonna kill you. So she say, look, she was not going anywhere. If they was gonna kill me, they was gonna kill her too. I said, trust me, your wish would have been their command. What wound up happening later on, Judge paged me, and he told me he was coming to see me. He wanted a package. So here it is. I knew he was coming. So when he got there, I caught him. Right now he knocked on my door. I was in the staircase, and I didn't answer because how can you answer when you're in the staircase? So soon as he came out from around my apartment, went to the staircase, I shot him, and I shot him in his face, and he played dead. And to me, I thought I got him. I thought he's dead. And what wound up happening was, once I left, because he was out, like laying there. And I didn't go back and say, well, once I shot him in the face, he laid out, I'm looking at him. I did not detect breathing, I did not detect anything. I'm saying, I got this guy. This cat right now was a dangerous individual, just as dangerous as I was. To me, why I got him, because we grew up together. And he made a vital mistake when I was incarcerated fighting the Silver Mims case. He made a vital mistake. He went to the apartment and he said he ran into my brother. And he was telling people that he was gonna kill and rob my brother. And everybody asked him, man, hold up, you was gonna kill and rob his brother? Ain't you and Glaze cool? He said, yeah, my Glaze is cool, that's my man, I love him like a brother, but I don't like his brother. So to me, how in the hell are you gonna kill my brother and think you're gonna get away with that? So to me, the fact that he was affiliated with K-Sean and K-Sean killed Wood, and then he was talking about killing and robbing my brother, you know what, to me, Just was just as dangerous as I am, and he had to go. But I got pissed because I shot him, he played dead, I thought he was dead, and I made a boo-boo. He was alive and well.
Now, so what was your mind frame after that? Were you nervous?
It wasn't nervous, it just knew that, guess what, I fucked up, man. Here it is, I'm the founder member of Eminem, Money and Murder. Like I used to tell my guys, if they miss a hit, what the hell I need y'all for? I give a bunch of chicks my money, I can do the murder myself. Now I'm the founder member of Eminem, Money and Murder, I miss a hit. I miss a golden opportunity on a person just as dangerous as I am. So he's coming. He reached out to all the 5%ers, all the guards, you know what I'm saying, period. So it's war. They coming after me. And right now, because I missed a hit on him, and the same guy, King Allah, who's responsible for Fat Cat wife being kidnapped, he wound up manipulating these guys. He wound up telling them, Glaze don't live in Brooklyn no more, he live in Queens. So he gave my address. The address was Fat Cat Mother House. I didn't live there. I didn't have nothing to do with that. But what he did was, because he wanted to get even or get Cat, so what he did was he lied to these 5%er brothers, you know, because they all together supposed to be one. He lied to them and say, Glaze is not in Brooklyn no more. If you want Glaze, this is the address. So they went to this address, and what they did was they shot it up and threw a firebomb in it, and basically that was Fat Cat Mother House. Fat Cat Mother at the time was 71. Her husband was 75. Her daughter, who died in the fire, Fat Cat's sister, was 51. She was in a wheelchair. She died in the fire. His niece was 12. His two nephews was 10 and 4. His 10-year-old got burned real bad. So with that being said, I just left that day and time. I just left there probably like a half an hour to 45 minutes ago when they threw the firebomb. And like Mama say, if she didn't fell asleep on the couch, everybody would have died in that fire.
So how did that all? Hey, Matt, shake that up. So how did
They missed the opportunity. They didn't come after me because they, you know, to me, it's like right now, being aware of your surroundings. You know, like I say, I don't let nobody sneak up on me. So they was on defense. They know I'm coming. And to me, like right now, is if you go back to Cat, he did an interview with Vanity Fair magazine, Madonna on the first cover. I think that was in April 1991. Whereas he say, despite his sister laid up in a casket, you know, about to have a funeral, that I came to him with a diabolical scheme. Because I wanted revenge. I want to go after everybody that's responsible. I wanted to attack them, their father, their mother, their kids. I wanted to set example and kill everybody. And I was on a visiting Fat Cat in Shawan Correction Facility. And I was telling him, here it is. It was a night visit. And I told him, I said, look, at 8 o'clock, I got guys posing as FedEx, UPS, and housing that they will be knocking on these doors of these houses and these apartments. And when they enter in it, everybody that was in there was gonna die. Mother, father, babies, and all. To set an example because of his sister dying in that fire. And basically, he told me no. He said, you can't do that. And his thing was, I couldn't do it because he was superstitious. And to me, I'm like, look, your sister is in a casket right now. And if your mother was an alert, you lost your mother, you lost your stepdad, you lost your nieces and your nephew. And to me, when these guys come after us, we got to set a hell of an example, letting them know if they fuck us up, this is what to expect.
Okay. 2 questions left. When you decided to cooperate, you told us a little bit about why with the Fat Cat thing. Well, can you tell us about telling Pappy Mason and Fat Cat and what happened, like when you told them you were going to cooperate?
You know what? Like, that was one of the most difficult decisions in life. Because once again, where we come from, it's a saying, don't talk that talk if you can't walk that walk. And to me, I done killed witnesses. I done stabbed witnesses. Rat, snitch, it's unacceptable. But it's like when I went to Cat and I made him a hell of a proposition. I said, let's look at the big picture. Your mother, I'm saying your stepdad, your wife, your girlfriend, your nieces, your sisters, my brother, Pappy mother, is all facing time. So to me, you know as well as I do, they want you, they want Pappy, they want me, and they want John, the Chinese guy, the Heron connection. Let them make a deal. Let them go against us. We know we got life, and hey, we just we just take the loss. Cat looked at me and said, look, this is what we're gonna do. You go to trial first. Let's see what they got against you, then I go to trial. And me, being a thinker, time out, man. You already got 25 to life. I don't have shit yet. Why in the hell I'm going to trial first? So to me, what you're trying to do is use me as a human guinea pig. So that's when a light bulb went off. Sometimes you can be more loyal, more dedicated to a person than they are to you. And sometimes you got to think outside the box. And that was my wake-up call. This is the second time that he saved my life. The first time he saved my life, when they threw the firebomb through his mother crib, and I wanted to hit everybody. I had my guys dressed up as housing, FedEx, and UPS, and we was gonna go in and kill anybody. So to me, had he not stopped me, we wouldn't be here today telling this story. And the second time he saved my life, when he showed me, you go to trial first, and let's see what they got against you. And I took that personal. You trying to utilize me as I was a human guinea pig, and that's when everything changed, man. Why the hell I'm gonna be loyal to somebody that's not loyal to me?
And what about Pappy Mason?
With Pap, when I decided to, I evaluated the situation and decided what I was gonna do, I went to Pap, because by that time, we all was in some type of form of confusion. Nobody was communicating. Despite we was in MCC New York, and we was not really talking to one another. It was like a division. So to me, I felt because of my relationship, my bond with Pap, I went to him. He was on the 9th floor. I went to the attorney conference room, just me and him. I said, Pap, this is what I'm about to do. I'm about to make a deal, man. I said, I'm about to cooperate with the United States government. And if you feel I'm wrong, you can go and take the ox, the razor blade, out your dread and cut my throat. So Pap look at me, yo, I can't do that, Glaze Gibbs. I love you like a brother, man. So his counter was, what everybody gonna think about you? Here it is, everywhere I went, from the street, from Rikers Island to Comstock, Clinton, everywhere I went, everybody glaze this, glaze that. I said, Pap, those that love me, still gonna love me. Those that hate me, still gonna hate me. So to me, it's not even what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do what I feel is best for myself. So like he say, look, I love you. You my man. You my brother. Nothing changed.
I got 3 quick questions.
Okay.
One, how big was your organization? How many people?
How big my organization? At the time when I had Money and Murder, probably had like 10 guys. And like I tell you right now, where it's like these cats, like, you know, to me, I can remember something what they say was I stopped them from robbing and stealing in the street and turn them into cold-blooded murderers. And when you sit back and you think about that or whatever, even with them, most of them, like, they were still out. None of them went down. Even when I made a deal, none of my crews went down. Only person in my crews that went down, they was already dead already. So none of my crew went down because of what I say.
When you worked with the government, what happened to all your money?
What happened to all my money was, man, in 1992, when my mother died, nobody knew. I used to always call my sister, giving her like directive, hey, do this, do this, do this. You know, because I had a son at the time and he needed certain things. Well, hey, look, I want you to do this for him. I want you to do this for his brother. I want you to do different things. So I'm constantly keep telling her what to do. So finally, as the month went by, she asked a question. Look, you're my brother. I love you. I don't mind doing anything you want me to do, but she asked me a quality question. Where do you think I'm getting all this money from? I'm saying, well, you was with our mother when she passed away, so you got my money. She said, no, I don't. And that was like a wake-up call. That was like a slap in the face. What you mean you don't? She didn't have it. And, you know, the key was, like, when you sit back and think about it, you know, all the things I did by picking up a brick, throwing it at the prison wall, and then to find out that where's my money at? Where's everything I did it in vain? You know, so it became a situation where it's like, you know, when you start doing your homework and doing your investigation, where was my money or what happened to my money, you've heard different stories, but I don't got no fact. I was not there. One of the couple that's supposed to be responsible for the location of my money, the lady at the time, may her soul rest in peace, working in the bank, and I called him and I asked him, you know, from my understanding, you got my money. And the gentleman at the time, older gentleman, like, look, Keith, I didn't have nothing to do with that, or, you know, that's between the ladies, or, you know, he bowed out of that one. Because, you know, she was a big executive at a bank. And when I talked to her, she's telling me, look, anything I need or anything I want, your mother helped me, or she paid for my sister's surgery and operation. But nobody came clean, like, whatever happened to my money.
How much money did you have total at one time? The biggest amount of money, what do you think?
The biggest money I had, and you know what, the backward part about it, probably had like $5 million that was buried in South Carolina. And the crazy thing about it, when the feds came and they picked me up and down in South Carolina, after a while, they started digging everything up, because we buried it.
You mentioned real briefly the heroin connection, the Chinese guy.
Mm-hmm.
How did that work?
Basically right now, he was a guy that Cat met where they was doing a state bid. And, you know, basically right now, whatever Cat want, he got it. Like, he got the heroin. And to me, that's where I made the money at, man.
Did it come in from China, or?
I couldn't even say. You know what, the funny part about it, you know, like, and not trying to be funny about anything or whatever, despite he was, you know, he was Chinese, you know, he's from China, but I think he was getting from somebody from Pakistan.
And last question, how many murders are you accused of? Then how many are you convicted of?
How many murders I was accused of? I was accused of one murder a week from June 22nd, 1987 to November 10th, 1988. What I did was I pled guilty to 5 murders and 2 attempt murders. And even when I pled guilty to 5 murders and 2 attempt murder, Brooklyn and Queens felt like the government, you know, more or less like, you know, got soft on me. But the government stand was, y'all didn't have shit on him. If he didn't confess to these things, y'all would never had it.
All right. Are you good?
I'm good.
All right, my last 2 is tell us what federal prison is like in the witness protection program and some of the people you ran across.
See, that's a tough question, man. Because to me, like everybody was looking up to me, or they looking at the fat cat in them or whatever. I know Sammy Bull was there, but I never ran into Sammy the Bull. I ran into Nicky Barnes. Nicky Barnes, like, you know, Leroy Nicky Barnes was probably one of the most coolest person that you ever met. And like, even with him, I think what he took a liking to me because I was 30 years younger than him. I could have been his son. And he saw that I was on a wild side. So what happened was he just took me under his wings. And I can remember a story of me, Nick, that like what he got mad at me about was I was taking courses at Marist Community College. And what he got mad about is, here it is, I was winging it and getting a C. So Nick, like, why are you gonna settle for a C when you can get an A? I said, Nick, I got 1,000,001 shit on my mind. I'm fighting this case. And to me, if I can wing it and get a C, I'm all right. But his thing was perfection. Nick was the type of guy, he wants you to get A+. Nick learned so many different languages, got so many different degrees, and like, I'm talking about, he was a health nut, health freak. He hate people using it in the word. He got so many people, they helped them with their GED that, like, it was unbelievable, man. Like, you know, so to me, I think he took a liking to me because of the fact I was young. And like there, he had a lot of people hated him, especially Italian, and they wanted to get at him. But to me, look, if I'm there, you ain't messing with Nick. Nick was like, you know, he's the man. And not only that, like, I liked the way he dealt with me. Like, he knew I liked pancake at the time. And when he used to work in the mess hall, I wouldn't get up in the morning time to get no pancake. So what he used to do is, he used to get a stack, wrap it up, and bring it to my cell. And when he come in, I'm still knocked out, but he'll put the plate there for me, wrapped up, and he'll make something slick. Yeah, you can't get up in the morning because you still got what you ate last night still in your tongue, so you can't get up in the morning to get the pancake or whatever. So he just was like, to me, like literally, like good brother, love him, because he changed his whole lifestyle, man. He was about empowerment. He was about helping every nationality to go to the next level.
How's life now? Is life good?
Life is good, man. Life is what we make it, man. Like, we can choose to be happy, sad. We can choose to be down, depressed, up. You know, it's up to us, man. And to me, when you sit back and think about it, life is good, man. Like, to me, as I told Pappy, man, you know, I tell anybody, if I didn't do what I do, what would have happened is I would have been sitting in a jail cell with natural life, on medication, you know, sitting by my toilet bowl, drinking water out of my toilet bowl, going blah, 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 blah. And when you sit back and you think about it, the game, everything's a game. And you ask people, why do we play a game? We play a game of checker. We play a game of chess, football, basketball, cocolivio, tag. You play a game to what? You play a game to win. The bottom line is right now, when people in the street, they call it a game. But the bottom line, if you die on the street at an early age, you lost. If you get life imprisonment, you lost. You didn't win. You know, to me, I'm a sore loser. I hate to lose. So to me, if I'm playing basketball, if I'm playing spade, if I'm playing any type of game and I'm about to lose, what I'm gonna do? Time out. I quit. You cheating. Why? Because you don't want to lose, man. The name of the game is to win, man. So I don't care what anybody say, man. That's life. If you end up with life imprisonment, you end up dead at an early age, you lost.
All right. What did you do on your first day home? Last question.
What I do on first day home, you know, just smile. You know, I felt they could have put me on the moon, and I would have been all right.
Good
I was
deal.
just happy to be home, happy to be free. But what is home? And that's what people don't understand. Home is freedom. Home is a state of mind. Home is a behavior. Home could be, like Luther Vandross say, a chair is still a chair, even when nobody's not there. A house is not a home when you're left alone. I'm not meant to live alone. Turn this house into a home when I'm not here.
cut. That was
All right,
awesome.
yeah.
That was good. That's it.
Just got my copy of Beyond Lucky by Brian Glaze Gibbs. Thank you so much for sending me my personalized autographed copy. I've had the pleasure of knowing you for a long time, so I'm really excited to get to know some of your stories and what made you you and how this redemption came about. I know you're a changed man, and I'm looking forward to seeing the whole process of how it happened. Thank you.
Especially athletes, right? So athletes always want to be buff, and they want to make sure they have a lot of energy, and they want to run, blah, blah, blah. Panoxol was good for them, and that's how it all started. You know, it started with the men that had erectile dysfunction. It started with the guys who wanted to run and buff up. So the whole industry was surrounded with that, but they called it something else. There's a lot of names for it. And then some brilliant scientist says, wow, God, if we can do nitric oxide for those things, then why can't we do it for heart? Why can't we do it for the liver? Why can't we do it for blood flow? Why can't we do it for the vessels in the brain? Why can't we do it for the vessels in the legs? You see what I'm saying? So it's a really good whole body supplement. Saying that you always want to, because I said it's a driver, the most profound thing that I found in using this is allowing a person to realize that it opens up the doorway to perfect health. And the reason why it does that is because it's the first thing you need, and the second thing you need is nutrients. So if it's a door opener, you have a very good chance of getting a better health and longevity. And that's the key to life. Oxygen.